Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Delta is a worrying component to the coronavirus pandemic in Barbados. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 5th November 2021. Details when we return.
Conveniently located in the Grand Anne Shopping Centre, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grandans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Welcome back. The Delta variant is pushing the positivity rate in Barbados to worrying levels, according to a senior health official. More in this Barbados Today news item.
Senior Health Officer Dr. Arthur Phillips delivered the sobering news while speaking on a program hosted by COVID-19 Public Advisor David Ellis. Dr. Phillips cautioned that the transmission of the coronavirus in the country remains high.
We would normally define more than 500 cases per 100,000 population as a very high level. People may remember back in January and March, we were spoken to the idea of 25 cases per 100,000 as a threshold that we were aiming for to get below. And we have been, for the past few days, at above 1,700 cases per 100,000 population. And of course, we've established that Delta, the highly transmissible variant, is circulating in Barbados.
With large numbers of persons continuing to be infected daily, Dr. Natalie Graves, a lecturer in public health at University of the West Indies, said the time has come for people to stop referring to COVID-19 as a hoax. Dr. Graves, who also appeared on the program, urged Barbadians to act responsibly and follow the protocols.
We know that coronavirus exists. It's amazing to me that still persons are still saying that COVID is not real. It's essentially a whole hoax. That's not the case. I think those persons who have been ill can attest to that, and the public health practitioners and the persons at Harrison Point, and just the global evidence base would let everyone know that we have to put that kind of argument aside now and accept that this is a condition, and this is a condition that needs to be treated aggressively and managed at a population level and an individual level as well. So I would want to use this opportunity to empower persons to take a moment of pause. Sometimes you might see something on WhatsApp that seems interesting, it may be a funny cartoon, etc., and you may pass that on in jest, but fact check that bit of information, and also think about the fact that a lot of the vaccine hesitancy that we see, etc., is because persons are seeding doubt about things that have a strong scientific basis. So yes, COVID, the SARS-CoV-2 virus exists. COVID-19 disease in and of itself is a disease that needs to be taken seriously.
Face-to-face classes off to a great start in Antigua and Barbuda. Shannon Jarvis of ABS Television News tells us more.
Schools across Antigua and Barbuda were given the green light to resume face-to-face learning as of the 2nd of November. The standard protocols of sanitizing, mask wearing, and physical distancing remain in full effect as thousands of students return to the physical classroom for the first time in 8 months. Principal of the Otters Comprehensive School, Foster Roberts, shares the optimism of students, teachers, and administrators.
We are happy to be back face to face, as we know online learning and its impact on our children, especially our students who are not in school.
Desks and chairs have been placed significantly far apart to maintain social distancing among students. One teacher could not contain her enthusiasm as she shares how happy she is to see her students and to be able to offer any remedial assistance.
I was looking forward actually to see my students face to face because online learning, I wasn't meeting them, most of them. I would have only a few from the numbers. So that was my main challenge, and I wasn't getting assignments completed. Some of them didn't have access to the internet, even though they had their laptop.
Hundreds of women in Trinidad and Tobago have contracted COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic, but the Ministry of Health is taking particular note of a significant increase in the number of cases recorded over the last 2 months in particular. Ranessa Cutting of TV6 News reports.
A total of 823 pregnant women have contracted COVID-19 in this country since the pandemic hit in March of 2020. But almost half of that number was recorded in the past 3 months alone.
In 2020, we had 58. For the first half of this year, we had 303 cases. And then we started to see a significant rise in the number of cases being reported of pregnant women in the database from July. In September, we had a high of 161 women entering our database, and for October, we have 100 cases.
But the Ministry of Health does not believe the increase in cases among pregnant women is out of the ordinary at this time.
These are patients who are getting infected in the community. This is not occurring in the hospital setting. These are persons just like the general population, are being exposed.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, pregnant women have a 70% increased risk of death if they contract COVID-19.
823 women have contracted COVID in Trinidad and Tobago, of which 2 to 3% have ended up in our intensive care unit and high dependency units, and we've had 2 deaths of women who were delivered and succumbed after delivery from the effects of COVID-19.
The ministry is urging all pregnant women to get vaccinated as soon as possible, including those who may have had 1 shot of the Sinopharm vaccine before becoming pregnant.
We have just approved that these women can now take the Pfizer vaccine as per schedule, 2 doses of the Pfizer schedule from the 2nd trimester and beyond.
Ranessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
A well-known private physician, Dr. Colin Roach, has been found murdered in his Duke Street, Kingston office in Guyana late on Tuesday night. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana reports.
Dr. Roach owned and managed the Dr. Roach International Medical Center at the same location. He was also former chairman of the National Sports Commission. Investigators were at the scene late last night and early this morning conducting their probe. 2 men who worked with the doctor and lived in the same building where the medical center is located were taken into custody and are being questioned about the murder. The doctor's Audi car is missing and an additional suspect is reportedly being sought. News source understands that one of the young men told investigators that they completed work around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and one of them retired to the apartment above the medical center while the other went out. Investigators were told that a doctor was in his office at the time. One of the men told investigators that he later saw a man entering the medical center at around 8 o'clock last night, but later leaving and then returning a few minutes later. Investigators were also told that a doctor's car was seen driving away from the building after 10 p.m. The young men claimed that they called the doctor's phone after noticing the lights were still on in his office. When they got no answer, one of them decided to use his keys to enter the medical center to turn off the lights. And it was then that the doctor's bloodied body was found lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Police investigators and emergency services were summoned. Investigators noticed a wound to the left side of the 49-year-old doctor's forehead. He was pronounced dead at the scene. And there are several CCTV cameras located on the inside and the outside of the building, according to investigators. Nearby buildings also have CCTV cameras. Dr. Colin Roach was one of 2 doctors authorized locally to conduct medical examinations for persons seeking immigrant visas for the United States, and he was once a clinical physician for the U.S. CDC office here in Guyana. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. In a statement today, the Ministry of Health expressed its sadness and shock at his killing, remembering him as one of Guyana's young but experienced doctors. The Ministry of Health said the country has lost one of its most experienced biomedical pathologists. Dr. Roach was part of the pioneering team that began revolutionizing laboratory science in Guyana and was a leading member of the team that began the transformation of manual procedures to automated technology, a statement from the Ministry of Health said. According to the Ministry of Health, when PEPFAR worked with the Ministry of Health to establish a National Public Health Reference Laboratory, Dr. Roach was the person who led the technical team under the then Minister of Health that put together the plan. He was appointed the first director of the National Public Health Reference Laboratory, and he was later appointed as a consultant to the United States Center for Disease Control. The Ministry of Health also noted that PCR DNA testing in Guyana was also pioneered by Dr. Roach, and that at the time of his death, he was in close discussion with the ministry as it begins a new era of transformation for chemical pathology. Guyana has lost a genuine national interest, the Ministry of Health said. The police investigations are ongoing tonight. More news coming up in...
Conveniently located in the Grand Anne Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair granaries will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.